What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Review for HIgurashi When They Cry Go. This is episode 17. With me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
So this turned out to be one of the most, revealing episodes of this, of this arc so far, and one of the biggest game changers of all. But first off, at first, I originally thought that, Takano of all people was was going to be gonna be the villain.
That would be
again.
so lazy.
Because we for the first scene we see like Takano just literally kill everyone again, and it's
that's a scene from Higurashi Kai.
Yeah, it was, but I just thought are they gonna do this all over again? And it's but then after the opening, we just we finally go back to where the last episode left off. Oh, they're not going to that part. At least I assumed that they weren't. And then all of a sudden, this, just like what happened at the later half of the last episode, things still go in so well, too well in my opinion. Takano just walks up to Rika and just straight up admits that she was going to do bad things to her and the rest of her friends, and then just pretty much goes with Tomitake and just surrenders to I guess to the Tokyo authorities.
Well, before this episode started, I thought that she might actually try to help out Rika because of she would maybe have memories of what Rika did for her. That is, of course, considering she might also be looping or something, but I guess this episode confirms it seems like she does have memories of what happened, but
I don't think she had any memories of what happened. She just acknowledged. I think she just straight up acknowledged of what she was initially planning.
So she just had a change of heart all of a sudden, because that's what's confusing me. Because I don't understand why she.
I think. I'm definitely sure it was more of a change of heart kind of thing, because she gave no real indication that she had any knowledge of what happened, or that particular scene that happened at the epilogue of Higurashi Kai. I don't think that really happened. If that was the case, then Takano would not be there in the first place.
It's possible. But yeah, like you said, it's if that's the case, it just at that point it was things are going a little bit too well. But I think it seems like she at least hinted at she knew that bad things were going to happen there. I mean, obviously because of her research, she knows that bad things are about to happen. So I think she implies that with every loop, her and Tomitake just kind of disappear, so they don't have to be involved in whatever's going to happen, I guess, because of Inabizamba syndrome or whatever.
Yeah, and then then we continue on with I guess some of the members of the Tokyo Bloodhounds that they were called, that were working with Takano, and they end up getting arrested by the Tokyo authorities, or whatever they are.
Yeah, we finally see one of the characters actually we haven't even seen yet, Okanogi, who's one of the mercenaries from the original series, if you remember.
Yeah, and of course at the end of Higurashi Kai as well,
he's
initially works with Takano.
They managed to capture him. They pretty much managed to surround him, and this is where we see the cameo of a character who, apparently, according to some of the comments on the forums, I haven't read this far in the visual novel, but apparently this character does show up in the original Higurashi visual novel. But this character's name is I think it's Amakusa. He's the bodyguard of Ange Ushiramiya from Umaneku. But he also appears in the original Higurashi visual novel, but they didn't have his character show up in the original anime. So I guess you could technically say it's a bit of a crossover in a way, but but yeah, it's interesting to finally to actually see him in this. But yeah, he doesn't play a big role or anything as far as I know.
Yeah, and then soon afterwards, things continue for another several days, and then Tomitake meets up with Rika back at the school again, just pretty much telling her no. Actually, before this, it was we go back to the clinic, with Irie, and then like we see the Tokyo authorities like going in and finding Sadoshi's body, like, well, still like in a sedated state.
Yeah, because he had the syndrome. If you remember from Higurashi Kai, yeah, they of course reveal in the second season that basically Irie and Tomitake are all in on Takano's research, and they're technically like a part of it. And that Satoshi was being kept in like a hidden room in the clinic, in some sort of like a coma.
Yeah, and until like Irie can do some more research to find a cure for him, but unfortunately, we never really got to see that happen, even by the end of Higurashi Kai.
Yeah, So we see him, and we also see like that. I think it was like the giant teddy bear he was going to give to Sadako. We actually see this in the original series. I don't think they really like covered that in this series. That was actually from the original show. But yeah, we finally get to see him, and we also see the vials of the different, or the vials that would apparently give somebody an advanced, advanced stage Hinamizawa syndrome. They have all these vials in like a case, so it's like different strains of it.
And of course, like I said earlier, they go back to the school with Tomitake meeting up with Rika, just pretty much giving her the gist of everything that's happened, so far, including Takano surrendering herself, and then everything, like, that with the Tokyo authorities coming in and like pretty much handling the rest, of what's been going on, and then of course Rika asks like if there's going to be that if there's going to be another disaster coming up, and Tomitake reassures her that there isn't going to be any, as far as we know.
This is so frustrating to watch. Like, I'm just like, Rika should know better, but she's acting like everything's going to be fine, and we know everything's not going to be fine.
But she eventually tries to catch on. She goes back to the Oyashiro shrine, and goes back and finds the dagger, and then she goes back to think about everything that's happened so far. It's like, why are things going so well for her?
This was when I was like,
right
okay,
now.
good, you're asking the important questions that we've all been asking like this whole time, which, is like, she wasn't just trying to delude herself that everything was fine. So yeah, this is the point of the episode where I'm like, okay, well, maybe, we're gonna get somewhere,
Yeah. And then of course we see she like thinks about like everything that's happened so far. Like, why is like the loop that she's currently in any different than all the hundreds of thousands of loops that she's went through over and over again. So, and then of course, like, she meets up with Sadako again up on the ledge, or
it's basically
like the overhead ledge or whatever. Yeah, the shrine. And then they have a talk with each other, like, saying how they should like stay friends like for a long time. And then of course, like, we continue on with with the remainder of this episode with like everyone hanging out and playing like games together, like, including playing a game of poker as well.
I started getting frustrated when I saw this too, because I'm just like, why are we going back to like everything's fine? Because
the slice of life stuff. And then of course Rika throwing Sadako a surprise birthday party with everyone giving her gifts and all that, until finally that one scene in which Rika is about to give Sadako a gift. She takes out a box, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like, Sadako
this is the I want to point out, this is the same box that apparently was the box from a previous loop where it was like a Jack in the Box thing, and it punched her in the face. Yeah.
But I think but it seemed like there was more to what she was reacting to.
It seemed like there was more to it. Like, at first I didn't recognize the box, so I wasn't sure why she had that reaction. I thought it was something having to do with her abuse, because it seemed to trigger like some kind of PTSD or something, but then she just quickly like went back to normal.
Yeah, but she just immediately just comes up with the excuse that it was like, the trap Jack in a Box glove, whatever that thing was, but then like Rika like delves into it further by revealing what was in the box, which is of course a teddy bear.
Okay, this is like the same teddy bear from the opening. Honestly, like I don't know what significance it has. I almost think it's related to like the bear that Satoshi was going to give to her, but I'm not sure because it's not like the big teddy bear. It's like just a small one. I'm not really sure what kind of significance it has.
I think Rika hid something inside that teddy bear that made Sadako react that way, which inevitably we find out that Sadako is the looper.
Yeah, because like pretty much right after she sees the teddy bear, she just pretty much a switch flips and she pulls out a gun, which people are debating, like, because it seems like she pulls out this gun out of nowhere. Some people said she could have had like a holster or something or on her leg, but I don't know. Like it doesn't. It seems like we would notice something like that. Like I don't know. I don't know where the gun came from.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem, I don't know, physically logical for her to be hiding a gun somewhere. Like I don't know where, but she just pulls a gun out of nowhere. But we finally find out that she is the real culprit of everything that's happened. And if you notice too,
she has those same eyes that Rika had in the first episode.
Yes. Which leads us. I mean, like, we had this speculate. Like most fans who've watched the show had speculated this for a while. Since
episode 8 specifically, I think it was.
Yeah, we haven't, but we didn't really get much of a confirmation until this episode. Mm. So now we finally get a confirmation that yes, Sadako is, I would assume, is the villain of the story, or more or less responsible for everything that's happened.
I have to ask, what do you think is going on with her though? Like, do you think it's actually her doing this, or do you think that somebody is like controlling her or manipulating her somehow?
So far as right now, I'm leaning into it's mostly Sadako doing this, because something has to have happened. Like, what was it? Rika said she was enjoying 5 years of her own life before she got sucked back into those loops again. So something happened within those 5 years that caused Sadako to snap.
It could. Yeah,
and or it might have had something. There could be other factors as well, because as we know, Satoshi was still in a coma by the end of Higurashi Kai, but we never really got to see whether or not if his condition really improved or have gotten worse. If anything, maybe it's possible that Satoshi's condition got much worse, or something, or his condition was never really recovered from his Hinamizawa syndrome. So. That could have played a factor at some point in the storyline. Yeah. And also the fact that, with Rika leaving Hinamizawa, to pursue her own life, which also might have also triggered, something in Sadako to snap like that.
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible that it could have something to do with Satoshi. I actually didn't really think about that. But yeah, it could be a factor. Another thing, like my theory is if it's not just Sadako herself, and we just aren't aware of whatever motivation she has for doing it, if it is her actually doing it, then my theory is that there's one of the witches is manipulating her. People have been guessing it's either Feathering or Lambda Delta. My money is on Lambda Delta, because Lambda Delta actually has a reason to be there. Feathering could be there. It could be the one too, but I feel like it's Lambda Delta from Mumineku. But I'm not really sure. I think I think those eyes that they get are maybe some potential indication that there are other forces at work that we're unaware of at the moment. At least that's what I think. But it could end up just being, that Sadako is doing it for. It's actually her doing it, and for reasons that, of course, we're not really yet fully aware of. So yeah, I don't know this, but yeah, this was a pretty crazy episode, at least with how it ended. We finally got to see the what was it, the Mountain Dogs and the mercenary group, and kind of pull back the curtain on the whole like research project they were doing a little bit, which we didn't actually see in some of the other loops. We got they kind of hinted at it, but we didn't actually see it. But yeah, the way it ended was pretty crazy, and it pretty much fully now confirms the Sadako culprit theory that a lot of people have been having, because honestly, yeah, nobody else would really make sense to me at this point. So I really feel like it had to have been Sadako. Also, I should point out, conveniently enough, they released a new album artwork for the ending song for this show. As we know, the first one had there's been like 3 different characters that have been portrayed in the album art for like the one for the opening, which is Rena, and then the one for the ending, which was at first it was Rika, and now I think today they just released the new artwork, which depicts Sadako in looking pretty villainous. So it pretty much confirms the theory that Sadako is the one behind everything. So yeah, I thought that was interesting to point out. Yeah,
I mean, but what I'm curious is like, where does this go from here now?
I don't know. I think we're actually going to be getting into some of the new stuff now, because this is actually apparently the last episode of this arc, and then the next episode, I guess they're getting into a new arc, which is called the Village Destruction arc. But then it's like, I'm wondering what they're, how the next episode is going to start. Like, is she just going to shoot everybody, or what's going to happen? I don't know.
I mean, they could go crazy, for literally shooting and killing everyone, and then just going on a giant monologue the entire episode, explaining of her actions up to this point.
And the title too. It's also, I should point out, deceiving is no longer in the title. It's just Village Destruction. So no more deceiving. So there's no deception going on, I guess, in the next arc.
So now, but now, I mean, if that's any indication, then we are gonna go back to the Hinamizawa.
Yeah, is it gonna be the Hinamizawa disaster?
Yeah, the Hinamizawa disaster. The disaster, with the gasping, just exploding in the lake and killing everyone in the village.
As much as it'd be interesting, it'd also be kind of what we've been complaining about so far. It would probably be some new stuff, but also in a way a rehash as well, because it would just be going over the Hinamizawa disaster again. So I honestly, I kind of hope something different happens, maybe the village is destroyed in another way, because I kind of be just, in my opinion, kind of lazy just to go back to the old stuff happening again, just maybe in a little bit of a different way, I guess.
I mean, but like I said, I'm still curious to how this is going to end up continuing, because even if Sadako just decides to kill everyone else and then just have the entire loop restart all over again, Rika's going to know. I mean, she's going to go after Sadako, and whether or not if Sadako this version of Sadako is even aware if she's, we don't know if she is being controlled by one of the witches that you mentioned, or if it's another reason. But yeah, this that's the one question that we have right now. And assuming if this is going to be maybe the last or one of the last 2 arcs of the storyline, I mean, we don't know. I mean, now we're headed into more uncharted territory than ever before.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. I mean, yeah, like you said, if they die, and Rika is just going to go through the loop again, and when she does, of course, the first person she's going to go after, because she knows now, is going to be Sadako. I don't know how Sadako is going to defend herself, or what she's going to do, because Rika has the shard that will kill her and stop her from continuing to loop.
Yeah, but will she go through with it? That's the thing.
I guess, I don't know if that's what she's counting on, that Rika will just hesitate and will not do it because she's her friend. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. It's Sadako had to have known that Rika would probably eventually find out anyway. So, I mean, there's got to be something she's got up her sleeve, I would assume. But
I mean it's technically her own doing for like convincing Rika to accept to stay in Hinamizawa in the first place, and then of course, like, I don't know if it was her manipulating the events, if that caused everything to go so well as supposedly as it did, but now we're we're in a situation that Rika finally knows knows.
Okay, the only thing I could figure is, if that is the case, like, maybe Sadako possibly has like the powers on the same level as like a god or something like that. Like, I don't know. That's another thing. Like, I guess we're going under the assumption that she's also just not, she's still like a normal person or something. Maybe she's not. Like, maybe she's.
Like, will she tell us like how she even got that ability in the first place, or has she had that ability like this entire time? Like, since the entirety of the series started.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this was a pretty good episode. At least we finally got a break from just the constant just depression and gore fest that we've been getting in like the past 2 episodes.
I mean, it was not bad or anything like that. It's just we needed something to give us like, something to move on from all the stuff we've already seen like throughout the entire years of we've watched Higurashi.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too, is like I was like, because I've been complaining for the past few episodes, like, when are we going to get some answers? And like, at least we finally got some, and we got really finally got the reveal of the culprit. Now the only question is, what really is her motivation? Like, and a lot of people, of course, have guessed it was because Rika left and all that, and that probably could have something to do with it. But I feel like there's also more to it. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll get an explanation from her by probably the next episode. If not, then maybe the next set of episodes before the series is done. But yeah, we'll have to see where it goes from here. It's like anything can happen at this point.
Yeah. But I don't have too much else to say about it. I am now definitely really looking forward to next week's episode, because I am very curious at this point as to what Sadako is going to do and what her reasons are. So hopefully we'll get some of that in the next episode. But yeah, I don't really have too much else to say about it. I don't know if you have anything else to say.
No, I mean, like, now I'm definitely looking forward to with everything that's going to happen for the next several episodes.
Yeah, I think just kind of reflecting on the series like so far, I think the only really frustrating thing about the series is that we technically don't really get any sort of like actually like new content, or at least the new storyline until like more than like halfway through it. Like, because everything else before that,
I mean, this is way like halfway through it. I mean,
because everything else was like literally a rehash, but then something different happens at the end, or halfway through the arc. And that's like, I think that's the worst part about this quote unquote sequel, is that everything else is like, for the longest time everything was the same, and then something different would happen, and then it would just cut off without any sort of answers or anything like that, move on to the next one. And it was like that for a while, and it's starting to get really annoying. But now it's finally like, okay, now it's interesting because they're finally getting into the new stuff, but it just took them forever to do it. And I'm just like, that's my main complaint with the show. Like, it took too long for it to get there. And like, I feel like because of that there's probably been people who've already like just dropped it or something. But yeah, I mean, hopefully it'll be able to make up for it near the end though. I mean, so far it has caught my interest. I'm, wondering what they're going to do next. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to see how it pans out. But that all being said, until next Thursday, we will see you all next time.